we have about 11 persons now in joining us from different parts of the world. We have someone from Lagos, nice, someone from Akure, Nigeria. Okay, please keep it coming. Oh, we have someone from Ghana. Welcome, welcome, Ruth. Yeah, Ondo State, yeah, that's good, that's great, that's great. Um, so like I said earlier, good morning everyone, wherever you're joining us from, joining from Washington in the US, and our speaker is joining us from Norway, if I'm correctly. And we have Nigerians here, we have someone from Ghana. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Um, I think we will start we will start in the next 2 minutes. The next 2 minutes. So by 5:10, that's Nigerian time, we would start this meeting, irrespective of how many number of persons we have. So we'll start shortly. In 2 minutes, we'll start. Thank you for your patience. Okay, okay. So we will start right now. It's 10 minutes past 5 p.m. Western African time, and welcome to another series of Ocean Leadership. We do this every month to speak about what's happening there in the marine ecosystem, threats, conservation, possibilities, and technologies and the rest. So this is one of such episodes. This is series number 23 since we started this series. This is series number 23, and this is the seventh one for the year 2025. So today we will be speaking about sharks, but in this time, sharks in the global south, that's developing countries, mainly sub-Saharan Africa and part of Middle East and the rest. So you're welcome once again. So why are you here, or what do we do here at Aquaworld? So at Aquaworld, our mission is to add value to aquatic world and its resources. Principally, we try to empower coastal ecosystem or communities in Nigeria through creative and pragmatic initiative aimed at marine protection, climate resilience, and improved livelihoods. Shortly, I would invite the president of the association to speak briefly about the association, what we do, and the kind of strides that we've made. And then thereafter, I would introduce our speaker for the day. But just before that, one interesting fact about sharks is that, of course, as you know, they can replace their body temperature. But one thing I love about sharks is that they can replace their teeth over the years. Like anytime they lose a teeth, they're able to replace it. So that's one fact I love so much about sharks. Without wasting much of our time, I'd love to introduce Paul. Paul Ayomide, who is the president of this association, to give us a quick overview of what we do here at Aquaworld here. Thank you so much, Paul.
All right, thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, from wherever you're joining us in the world. My name is Paul. I'm the founder of Aquaworld, and I'm super excited to have everyone. Congratulations to Mr. Gift David and our wonderful speaker for this edition. Like our moderator has said, the Ocean Leadership Series is organized once every month to enlighten students and young professionals from everywhere in the world on marine conservation context. And also, we're happy to share with everyone that aside this live streaming that's going on YouTube, that is going on Zoom, we would have the session also streamed on YouTube, so that after which we have it on our YouTube channel for people to gain more access to the training over time. So Aquaworld is a non-governmental organization in Nigeria driving marine conservation and climate resilience in coastal communities. Right. Over the years, we have been able to engage over 22,000 students and young people in over 32 countries globally. And we have deployed over 30 projects to drive climate resilience fisheries, marine protection in 2 countries in Africa. Physically, we have over 140 volunteers across the world. Also, we have engagements, like I said, with over 20,000 people. So we are super excited to have everyone on board. We've partnered with different organizations over the years, such as National Geographic, Sustainable Ocean Alliance, the Global Environment Facility, Environmental Defense Fund, and many others. So we are super excited. Like I said, welcome once again, and I will hand over to Mr. David. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Paul. Our speaker for today is someone that I know very well. We're lab mates. So we are in the same lab at the University of Manchester. Mohsen is someone who is very you must have already seen the flyer and his bio He's someone who is very much interested with sharks conservation. He lives and breathes sharks conservation. You could ask him a question about sharks, how they live, what to do with sharks. He is he is he is an authority in that field. But briefly, he's doing a PhD at the Shields Lab at the University of Manchester, where he's trying to investigate how ocean warming influences how threatening sharks are. And today he'll be speaking on sharks conservation in the global south in this series today. I'd love to invite my very good friend Mohsen to come on board. I would I would share slides due to technical issue. I will share slides and then while he speaks. Let's see what we have.
Yeah, hello, Gift. Hello, Paul. Hello, all dear participants. While Gift is working on the presentation, I would like to say hello, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Hello to all you beautiful people from the Africa. I just visited your beautiful, amazing continent once. It was in 2024 when I was in Kenya. But during the 3 weeks I had in Africa, it was for me that uh, it is like home. And yeah, it is home for all of us, all human, all in the world, the old and beautiful continent of Africa. So I'm very happy to be in my next desk in University of Manchester as a PhD student in biology. As explained, I now work on sharks and rays as one of the most threatened group of vertebrates, and I've been working on threatened marine wildlife for the last 15 years. It started with sea turtles, sea snakes, and small cetaceans like dolphins and porpoises. But in 2016, when I used board fishing boats to just looking for sea turtles or other marine creatures, and when I just visited regularly the fish markets, landing sites, they were everywhere, and unfortunately dead. Uh, uh, Light in fish markets, lots in fisheries bycatch. So since 2016, I decided to work on this group of fish, and I've been working on them uh, for the last 8-9 years. And uh, now we have the international, the World Shark Weeks, and the people, scientists celebrating, uh, having this amazing group of animals all around the world in our oceans, and try to just advocating for them, just raising public awareness. And uh, so Gift just asked me to just be here, and I really thank you, the president, Gift, and all of you to just having me here now. Um, okay, I would start to just talking about fish as a group of vertebrates, as the largest group of vertebrates. Um, Actually, if you can see this pie chart, you can see that 15%, and actually over than 15% of all vertebrates of fish, and there are more than 36,000 known species of fish, and every day, if every week, if not every day, just one more species discovered from this large group and added to the checklist. They live everywhere, all around all planet, in oceans and freshwater, in rivers, in caves, in lakes, in oceans. Um, Even we can see them on lands or flying on the sky, like the flying fish, or like mud skippers, or few of uh, earth-basing fish that you have in Africa. So um, scientifically, we use the name of fish for a group of vertebrates who have gills to just absorb oxygens, and just use this trait for their aerobic metabolism, for absorbing oxygen all around their life. But if we just if we just focus on the biological mean of fish, we will see that there is no specific taxonomic clade that we can just um, define that as fish. I mean that there are lots of intraspecific, interspecific, and intertaxa differences between different groups of fish, and some of them are more related to other vertebrate groups than for example if you just compare the tuna fishes with batois or with the stingrays. Next slide, please. So, but if we just want to just take a closer look at this group of vertebrates, we can just divide them in three groups that are evolutionary, ecologically different from each other. So one group is the jellyfish, are most ancient fish on the planet, which includes lampreys and hagfish, and they are the only group of vertebrates that are jawless, means they do not have any jaw for taking their food. And the second group, which is the largest group of fish, and with more than 30,000 species distributed in all marine and freshwater ecosystems, are bony fishes. And like almost every fish we know all around, like the, I don't know, the conefish, tuna fish, the goldfish that we have in our aquarium, the salmon, or most of the fish that we use on our dish. And the third group, there are cartilaginous fish or chondrichthyans, which includes sharks, rays, and chimeras. The reason that we just named them as a cartilaginous fish is that their skeleton is made of cartilage and not bone. So next slide, please. And okay, the focus of this presentation, which is sharks and rays. The reason that I just first I need to explain myself, that because I talked with Gift about my audience, that will you are all fish biologists or marine conservationists, but I realized that my participants would be from different specialities, and some of you might be just environmentalists with different specialities. For this reason, I just decided to first give you a very general overview of what fish are, what sharks and rays are, why they are important, and then go to our main subjects, means sharks and rays in global south. So chondrichthyans, or the cartilaginous fish, which includes sharks, rays, and chimeras, evolved about 415 million years ago. We probably cannot imagine how long this is, but I just try to give you some example so you would understand that for how long these amazing marine predators live on our planet. We all know trees as a symbol of environment, and especially in your beautiful country, Africa, and or all around the world, especially all around the tropics. Environmentalists, naturalists just fight to keep the earth green. So we know that all life just depends on this group of land. But it might be interesting for you to know that sharks are even older than trees. I mean that, which we know as tree plants, just evolved 400 million years ago, but 15 million years before, cartilaginous fish started to evolve on this planet. So sharks and rays are Now we are talking about a group of ancient animals that are even older than trees, and they are much older than dinosaurs, a group of reptiles that we know them as um, prehistoric creatures, but compared to sharks and rays, dinosaurs are very young. We had 5 mass extinctions uh, on the planet Earth during the 3.5 billion years of life history on this planet. And sharks and rays survived all these 5 mass extinctions. So now we are talking about a group of ancient marine predators that survive on this planet even more than trees for 415 million years, and we can find them in almost every marine ecosystem. And life in the ocean, as we will see, is completely dependent on this on this group of fish. Uh, Maybe have the next slide, please. Uh, so the cartilaginous fish or chondrichthyans are divided in 3 groups. The first groups are chimeras, which or we just categorize them in a class of in name Mohsen. So the chimeras include a group of 15 species that almost all of them are found in the deep sea ecosystems. They are pretty rare, um, speaking their abundance and their diversity. And sometimes during the chondrichthyan evolutionary history, they were very abundant all around the planet. But during the last mass extinctions, most of the chimeras just extinct, and some of them find the deep sea water as a shelter to just escape from whatever caused the last mass extinction. So currently we have over 50 species of them, but they are the smallest group of, they just comprise the smallest group of chondrichthyans. The second groups are sharks, and which is a very diverse group of sharks. We usually uh, recall great white sharks in our mind when we are talking about sharks, and some other charismatic shark species like the hammerhead sharks or tiger sharks or uh, whale sharks. But it might be interesting that there are over than 500 species of sharks in all ecosystems all around the world. And the largest of them is the largest fish of the planet, which is the whale shark, which can grow to over 14 meters. And the smaller is just a cookie cutter or dove shark that is just with a length with about 20 meters. Some species are really large, 5, 6, 7 meters long, but most species are not 1 or 2 meters larger than 1 or 2 meters. So this imagination that sharks can be only very large predators like the great white is not true. Some species are large like that, but most species are usually small, relatively small sharks. I mean that small means that 1-2 meters. And the third group of rays that are flattened, uh, they have a flattened body. Most of them are benthics, like the stingrays, like the torpedo rays, the electric rays, sawfishes, skates, and some of them are pelagic, like eagle rays or manta rays. But all of them are known with their flattened, dorsoventrally flattened body. Okay, next slide, please. And if we want to talk about why sharks and rays are important, there are different reasons why they are important. One of the reasons are they are important ecologically. I mean that because of their 450 million years evolutionary history, they just got the function of being as a case species in their habitats. I mean that during the evolutionary history, when they started evolve during the millions of years in their ecosystems, all other modules in their ecosystems just get dependent to them. As a top level predator, as an apex predator, they just control the populations of other species, and it led the ocean and its natural resources being sustainable and healthy. I mean that if I want to just give you an example, for example, in Shark Bay in Australia, which includes one of the largest seagrass habitats around the world. And we know that while trees are very important, most oxygen that we just breathe come from the oceans and are made by phytoplanktons and marine plants, and including seagrasses. So there are seagrasses that not only are environmentally important, but are housed for as a nursery for hundreds of ecologically important species. But there are also green sea turtles that graze on the seagrasses, and there are tiger sharks that just prey on green turtles. So when tiger sharks are around, they may or may not catch a sea turtle, a green sea turtle, but the sea turtle doesn't know that the approaching shark is coming to prey on it or not. So they're always careful, and they just eat as much as they need. They never can overgraze the seagrass ecosystem, because they always need to be careful about the tiger sharks that are roaming around. And it just led the seagrass being healthy and not overgrazed. But by removing the tiger sharks because of overfishing, climate change, and other threats, as we will see and we will learn about them in this presentation today, there is no threat for green sea turtles, and green sea turtles can graze on the land easily without any concern, and they start to overgraze their seagrass ecosystem. And so it is what in ecology we call that as a landscape of fear. Means that means that the predators in an ecosystem just make the grazers careful and concerned, and so the grazers just feed as much as they need. So it is just one example of why sharks and rays can be ecologically important. There are different examples. I'm sure that along the Nigerian coastal waters or all around the African waters, you have several of such these examples that are not studied, and but wherever we are, sharks and rays play an important role in the marine ecosystems. They are also very culturally important, especially in the global south, especially in all places which we have a long history that in most of its parts just involved with the nature. So in your culture, you may find, I'm sure you will find different cultural meanings for sharks and rays. So in some places they are important as foods, while in most places they are just harvested, over harvested. I means that over exploited. But in many local communities, they are just sustainably used as food. And uh, one of the most sustainable uh, livelihood options dependent on sharks and rays, as we will just learn about it, is tourism, which is now uh, just developing all around the world. And I'm sure that you have a good potential in your country and in Africa, and we later will talk about it. Next slide, please. But while they have lived on this planet for 450 million years ago, a million years, sharks and rays are threatened because they have a K strategy life history. It means that they just grow slowly, very like we humans, and they just get maturity lately. For some species like Greenland sharks, which a couple of members in our lab working on that, the maturity may just uh, last for a century. I mean that a Greenland shark can be mature in half to 1 century. But for most species, it is not that long, but it is something about 10 to 30 years, depending on the species and the size and the place we are talking about. And they also produce few offspring. I mean that there are few species that just produce eggs, and they just put eggs in covers that we call that mermaid pairs. But most of the species, almost all the species in global south, in where we are in tropical waters, I mean, they are viviparous, and um, therefore they just produce few offspring. And this traits means that slow growth, late maturation, and producing few offspring just led them to have low productivity. Means that they can just recover themselves from decline and very well. So now they are threatened by overfishing and illegal fishing, by habitat loss, by trading, especially for shark finning, and with the pollution and climate change as well. However, the most significant and important threat for sharks and rays all around the world is overfishing and over exploitation by far. But other threats are also important. So they are not able to recover from them caused by overfishing. And it is the reason that the number of threatened species just increasing very rapidly. In the last 15 years, global shark and ray populations fell by about 50%. And today that we are now talking about them, and about 1/3 of all shark and ray species all around the world are threatened with extinction. And most of this happen in nearshore coastal waters for coastal species that are exposed by fishing the most. So next slide, please, Gift. Okay, now we want to talk about sharks and rays in global south. And okay, what is currently defined as a global south is a geographical area that includes Africa, Latin America, and part of the Asia. And this region often have low to middle income economies. The term is sometimes criticized, and I believe that it is reasonably, because it is biased, because this term just developed by some countries from the Western world to just, categorizing countries by as in developed countries and developing countries, which is not true in many, many ways. But I just choose this topic. I mean that I just choose the term global south for my presentation for a reason. And I will later explain that why. But first, if I want to just talk about sharks and rays in the global south, I say that this part of the planet, the global south, has the most world shark and ray diversity, because it just includes the tropical waters. Most tropical waters are around the world, which includes the most shark and ray diversity, especially along the, I guess, over 800 kilometers of Nigerian coastline. If I'm true, I just extract the number from the Google. So, and also another number that I just extracted from the Google is that between 1995 to 2021, Nigeria reported an average yearly landing of 10,000 tons of sharks and 6.5 hundred tons of rays. Statistics that just published by the FAO, the Statistics of Fisheries, Food and Agriculture Organization, Fisheries Statistics. While the global south comprises the most sharks and rays diversity, and it also experience lots of pressure on this apex marine predators like overfishing and climate change and pollution. But we have a large data gap on this part of this planet. And unfortunately, the reason is that most studies that have been carried out on sharks and rays have been done by scientists from developed countries, and most of them just did that before coming to the global south. And video just uh, coming to our countries and doing long-term survives, collecting data, and they usually use um, metadata analysis from the data that the governments from all African or Asian or Latin American countries just reported to the FAO. And in some cases that um, scientists from the developed countries just came to our countries and uh, started to work on sharks and rays and release their findings and their discoveries, many new species, lots of interesting data. Usually, the local scientists have never been considered as lead author. It is a term that in science we call as parachute scientist, means that someone else just come into a country, do science or use the data released from your countries and do science without considering people and scientists from your region. And the reason that I use the term of global south for my presentation is that I want to say that in this geographical area, while it is a biased term, it is a big similarity between the nations in this part of that world, and it is that we have some mutual challenges that we need to address to build a better future for environment, including sharks and rays, which I just talk about in a couple of next slide that I finish my presentation. Next slide, please, Gif. And next slide. Mr. Edwards Deming is an award-winning statistics scientist and has a very interesting quote that I really like, that saying that without data you are just another person with an opinion. I think that the first step for building a future for sharks and rays in the global south needs a mobilizing and initiate research initiative developed in all countries for doing research on sharks and rays. I mean that more and more young scientists need to start working on sharks and rays. Know the most challenge in our countries, the countries in the global south, is the lack of data, the lack of scientific informations for sharks and rays. So usually we do not have long-term data for population dynamics, the threats, the population trends for sharks and rays, like many other threatened marine or terrestrial species in our countries. So, as a shark biologist, the first thing I recommend is that more people need to start doing research on sharks and rays in Africa and all around in the global south. We need to start to work on biodiversity in our countries by ourselves. It is very challenging because I know that in most cases there is no money or not enough money and doing marine conservation research is really costly, is very expensive, and there are not enough infrastructure and facilities. There are lots of challenges, but there are ways that we always can tackle these challenges. And maybe in the next presentations, I can just talk about it. One example of how people in my NGO home or team would tackle this challenge was a project we had about 3-4 years ago. So you know that fishing communities is just a group of the people that need to go to the sea every day of their life because their livelihood is dependent on fishing, and they need to be very observant people with the sharp eyes, because otherwise they just go to the sea, use all their fuel and resources, and come back with the empty hands. If they want to go to the sea and catch fish, they need to learn about fish. And many of fishers, I'm sure in my country, and I'm sure also in your country and all around the world, spend lots of their life in the sea, more than 10 years, 20 years. So if you just develop a interview form, go to a landing site, sitting and talking with the fishers for 30 minutes with each fisher, you can just collect lots of invaluable, very, very important ecological information from fishers' observation, and just transform that into scientific data that is more and less comparable with data you can just collect by using expending lots of money going to the sea every day. And so there are different solutions for just developing low cost research survives, but we need to start, and the first step is to just filling the data gap. So next slide, please, give. And the second most important step, in my opinion, is outreach and advocacy. And for me, it always starts from children. And I just work on a project with some scientists from India. I just visited their country and also work in my country a lot with the fishing communities. And so all my experience working with the fishing communities during the last 2 decades say that it is very difficult to change habits of adult fishing, because they used to something for years and it is very hard to change them and their mind. But the fishers who will start fishing next decade, 2 next decades, are now in schools in the local coastal towns and villages. And if you want to change the fishing habits and moving from unsustainable and illegal fishing to sustainable fishing practices, you need to start from schools in coastal villages and towns and start talking with children and explain children why sharks and rays are important. So 10 years later, 20 years later, you will have fishers that are aware why sharks and rays, why marine biodiversity is important, and why they need to protect, safeguard marine biodiversity because of their livelihood and because it is the only thing they have and their life is dependent. The next slide, please. We all know this this photo. It is the photo that people first time the instruments just put their feet on moon, take this photo from space, from our planet Earth. And what they showed us when they just return back to Earth from our planet, from a different view, I mean that from Earth, was this beautiful picture that named Earthrise. And what we see in this photo, in this amazing photo, is that our planet, or planet Earth, is a blue planet. And whenever in my life I just watch on this photo, I just remind me that how it is important to just save our oceans. Now, a couple of years ago, just a paper published in journal Nature, based on an macroecological analysis, showing that about 99% of all habitats suitable for life on our planet placed in aquatic environments, both ocean and freshwater ecosystems. And the global south, the term that I used today for my presentation, includes the most proportion of the coast all around the world. So it is very important, and we can contribute in marine biodiversity, especially shark and ray conservation. But we need a start to stand on our feet and just define our goals and start our career in this way. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Martin. That was a very brilliant presentation. Thank you so much. There are a few things that I picked out from there is that we have to know the species that we have, where they live, and what are the threats. Because data is very important, and without data, we cannot speak of conservation or management. So the right step first is getting correct data on the species we have. So thank you very much, Mohsen. Yeah. So for the next 10, 15 minutes, if you have any questions, Mohsen is here to answer all our questions regarding, it could be on his presentation today or something you have, some other question, but still connected to Shark, to something connected to Shark. He is very much open to answer them. So I believe the floor open to questions for the next 10, 15 minutes. Thank you. Do you have any questions? You could unmute yourself and speak. You could also drop your questions in the chat box. Let me see if we have anything there in the chat box first. Okay, no question here. Does anyone have a question for Mohsen? Okay, it seems we have no question. We really understood all the facts Mohsen presented today. Okay, no questions. That's good. That's good. That means we've assimilated what Mohsen has presented. We have to go back and think conservation, and just Mohsen, just like you said, we have to do awareness, and that's what we do at Aquaworld. We work with primary school students secondary school students. We try to tell them the threats out there for our marine ecosystem. Yeah, so Aquaworld is also doing something to contribute towards that. In terms of data, I believe the Nigerian government will do more. Just like you said, marine conservation research are quite expensive, and funding of the world is also limited. So thank you very much. We will go back and then we will try to see how we contribute more to shark conservation, because if we lose sharks in our waters, and then that will threaten not just life in the marine environment, but food sustainability to humans on planet Earth. So Mohsen, I want to thank you very much. I know you have to squeeze in time. You're currently in Norway for something and studies, and then but you have to squeeze in your time just to give us this wonderful presentation. Now, thank you very much. I also love to encourage
Thank you.
attendees today for staying up to this time. Thank you very much. I believe you've gotten one or two new knowledge that you take back to your institution. So thank you very much. And then
Thank you so much. Thank you. And all the participants. I also left my email and the Instagram account in chat. So if somebody want to just get in touch later with some questions or any just idea for collaboration, I'm very happy. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you, and Paul, and all the participants here. And I'm very grateful. Thank you for listening to me.